All right, working on getting this side cover changed here. Got the axles off of this 318 transaxle or differential. That's pretty easy to do. And when I get to the 420, I'll show you on the 420 because it's a more complete. It was a more complete unit, or is a more complete unit. So what we're looking at here is this is the side cover. We've evidently, it looks like we're going to have to drill out this shaft and this shaft. I'm not necessarily too concerned about that because we'll have to drill them out, which I think can just be done with a hand drill would be my guess. Because of ultimately there will be seals that go in there, which I'll show you in just a minute. There will be seals that go in there that will seal it, so the hole doesn't necessarily need to be perfect. The most concerning part to me is the fact that I have to tap these two holes right here for the mounting bracket. I don't have a bottom tap, so I'll have to think about that for a little bit before I get too much farther into it. Also, I think I have this seal. If not, I believe this seal is now no longer available through Deere. I think, but I may already have one, and I'm sure you can source them elsewhere. I just have not looked yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up, and we're actually going to take this cover off because I have it all set up, and we're just going to take the bolts on the outside off and see if we can pop that cover off, and we will go from there. So let me get the camera set up, and we'll move forward. All right, for ease of viewing, I'm just going to, the camera is upside down to me, because I am in somewhat of a hurry to get this done, because if I don't get it done in about the next hour or so, we're supposed to start getting in the neighborhoods of what's forecast to be 5 to 8 inches of snow, and my truck is sitting outside, so I need where I'm standing right now to put my truck. So these are just 1/2 inch bolts. To go get a wrench to get this one back here, or I can take off the nipple for the sight tube. I may do that because I don't know if I can get a wrench in there. So let me go find probably a 7/16 to get that nipple off, and then we'll take and remove that bolt. All right, got the nipple off. So that is all the bolts. Just pick these up. Should be all loose. I'm just going to set them in a pile over here. Now this side cover should be loose. I am going to go ahead and take out this bolt since I don't know it's attached to anything. I don't think it is. Oops, it should not be. And let's see if just a brief lift will get it. So what I think I'm going to need is a rubber mallet. Now this does have some alignment dowels. I know there's at least one down here and possibly one right there. So we do have that to deal with. Oh. Sounds loose. Oh, there we go. Now make sure you can see this. Yep. Because it feels like a bunch of other parts are going to come up with it. Nope. Okay. Did break free. Oops. All right. So we've got some... Oh, we've got a gasket here. I don't think this gasket is present on earlier units. I'm going to go ahead and dig out all the parts that I lost. Okay. So these two, really gonna have to figure out the orientation of these. There's no witness mark in there. I doubt it would run that way. Well, it's gotta be that way. Keep them from twisting on there. So there's our cover that we're going to start with. We have to drill out this boss and this boss. And then our mounting points are right here. So that's, we'll have to work on that. So there's our side cover that I think we can work with to replace on the 420 Transaxle. Let's explore in our... Let me clean my hands up and then we'll explore the Transaxle itself. All right, let's take a peek at the Transaxle itself. So up here, this gear right here, this is the input gear from the pump on the transmission, basically. And that will come in this hole right here, and it will mesh with this gear. This gear then attaches to this gear, goes to this. This gear right here would be, this would be where the 2-speed is at for the 420, 430, the 2-speed Transaxle. And basically it would go in this boss right down there. If you can see the end of my finger, there will be a locking collar that sticks up, and it will actually come into, not sure if it goes on, oh, it comes out the holes that I'm drilling, duh, dummy. So anyway, and then also over there on the other side, the gear goes down to there. And obviously we'll pick up on all these differences. Like I said, I think I mentioned it in the previous video, I've actually never been in one of these these differentials before. I've just looked at enough of them. I know kind of how they work in terms of gearing. So this would be our 2-speed. It goes there. This is our intermediate drive. I don't know what you would technically call it. And then if there was locking differential, the locking mechanism would go in that boss right down there, or cutout or casting, whatever. And I'm assuming that you would need to put some type of roller bearing in there. I believe that's how a lot of these are designed. And then there would be a locking mechanism in here somewhere. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but that is how it is put together. So overall, I think it looks pretty good. This Transaxle, or this differential, looks pretty good. And so now I don't know what to do with it because it's pretty useless to me at this point. So I think I'll just take the gears out and set them on a shelf for any future projects, because I wonder what's binding up there. Oh. So that turns, okay. Well, yeah, overall looks pretty promising. I think the next thing that I need to do is I'll just take all these gears out in this case. I'll set this case aside for right now, because you never know when you might need a case. Now that I've cleaned it up and got it out, I'll keep it. So anyway, the next thing that we'll do is I'll show you the seals that I got, and I'll see if I can find that other seal that I need, and then we'll take the axles apart. So I got all the gears out of this this differential here, and I never cease to be impressed by the simplicity of these designs and the robustness of these components. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it, and I'm just looking at the design that went into it. I mean, these are just straight cut gear, mostly straight cut gears. This gear here, splined inside, not keyed. I want to say this machine had 1,500 hours on the meter when I took this differential out of it, and I mean, you can see, hopefully you can see the minimal amount of wear on this differential overall. I mean, I bet you there's 25 pounds of metal in that pan right there in front of you. Overall, I mean, this right here almost bent the pan when I put it in here. And this is just the differential gear. I mean, minimal wear. I mean, you can see the wear pattern right here on the main gear. Very, very minimal. I mean, this 1,500 hours, and it's not even, there's certainly not a groove there. There's a color difference, but nothing that catches your fingernail. So, I just continue to be impressed with the design of these machines. One of the reasons that I really like them. So just figured I would stop and share that with you. Got the case all cleaned up. It's there. So I'll just set it off to the side for right now, put it on a shelf, and if I ever need a case, it's there. So normally you just replace whole differential, but hey, if you need a case, there's a case. So anyway, let me get to these axles. We'll pull those axles apart real quick, and I think then I'll show you the seals that we need, and then we'll call it good. All right, working on taking these axles apart. So in this particular case, we have, sorry about the loud noise there. So this is the axle shaft, runs through the axle tube, which is the axle tube right here. And this assembly right here is the brake assembly. And how the brake assembly works is there's actually pads that are no longer on this axle. And if you look at it, put my foot under here like this. When you step on the brakes, the brake rods come through this hole right here, and it modulates the brakes. So basically what happens is there's two pads. Those pads are pushed outwards onto the drum that sits on the axle. So if you take it all apart, which basically take it all apart, all you need to do is take off those four 9/16 bolts that bolt into the end of the axle tube here. You can then knock the axle shaft out, and basically what you have is you've got your axle, you've got your bearing that the axle rides on that goes into the end of the axle tube right here. Nothing special there. Then you have a spacer. The spacer is on this end of the axle tube right there. That basically makes sure, I think it is a sense of it makes sure everything's aligned and stays aligned. And it's just another kind of way to keep everything aligned in the differential. So that's what the axle looks like. Nice 1-inch axles, nice and heavy duty. That's why I can't remember what these are rated for. Probably 1,500 or 2,000 pounds on the rear would be my guess. But that is what an axle tube looks like. Now, what we're going to do next, and I went to go find the seals that I purchased today from Deere, and naturally they're at the house, and my feet are muddy, and it would take me by the time I went inside and everything. I'll just show you the seals in the next video. So that's it for this video. That's how the differential is laid out. You've seen it all now. If anybody needs any of these parts, let me know. If not, they're just going to probably go on a shelf for right now. And then the next video, we will dig into, well, the next part of the video, we will dig into that transaxle, or we will start working on that cover. I'm not sure which yet. Got a lot to do on that cover. I mean, we got to drill everything out, got to get seals placed in, got to replace the axle seal we got to replace the axle seal. So we do have some work to do there. And we've also got to get that cover off, get it all, everything taken care of there. I got to figure out how I'm going to tap the holes in the side cover. So I will have to go look for, see if I have a bottom tap or something along those lines. But other than that, I think that's it for this video. So leave questions, comments below, and thanks for watching.